Vintage Liverpool sound, Jerry and the Pacemakers. How do you do it? 22 past 11 on 3XY with Joe Miller.
Miss Melbourne,
3XY.
14:22, 3XY, Melissa, and sexy is the word. That's right. We can think of other words right now, but we shan't say those in the air. Okay, just to cheer things up a bit, we're pretty down the lip right now. We're not feeling very happy, but to cheer things up, we'll dial one of these 0055 numbers, which are going to be banned soon, put onto another telephone system sort of thing. So we'll call this one. This is called Dial a Blonde Bombshell. Dial a Blonde Bombshell. So let's just dial this one up. And we'll be tintillated and lustfully excited on our last day here at 3XY.
Thank you for calling the sex line.
Oh.
Dial a blonde bombshell.
Hey.
Hi,
Hi.
my name is Norma Jean,
Oh.
and I can be really obscene.
Please.
If you think that I'm going to talk dirty to you for 72 cents a minute, then you've dialed the wrong person, mate.
Sorry?
How could you only pay 72 cents a minute for me to lower myself to you? You're a typical rude male, just like all men. You're a pig.
Thank you.
Please make a note of it.
14:22, 3XY. It's 20 past 9. It's a Monday morning. Currently 12 degrees, heading for a nice one. Fine, becoming sunny in 17.
Hi, this is Brian Mannix, and I'm really, really pissed off. Fancy 3XY shutting down after all of these years, and I just want to say it's a great shame, and they always did the right thing by me. There's a lot of good friends in there at 3XY, and I'm very troubled and sad to see the demise of a great radio station.
Just when you thought it was safe to turn the radio on, it's Mike Ryan.
To 3XY with...
I'm here. You're here. We're all here.
The microphone. It's a bug one. What can we do for you, bug one?
No, it didn't work.
Come over here. Come over here. What's happening? This is important.
Our little people listening to the radio, we've just discovered a new 3XY executive doll. You wind it up and it falls over.
$14.22, 3XY. Eddie Money, Heaven in the back seat. Yep, great place to be. That's where we'll be tomorrow, in the back seat, probably laying out on the back seat, just tinny in one hand, Panadol in the other one, and in our pocket a CES job application. We're still here, waiting for a job, but just joking. Bureau says fine, becoming sunny, 17 degrees. Tomorrow, fine, increasing cloud and low 20s. Currently, it's 12. A lot of phone calls right now, a lot of faxes coming through. It's pretty emotional stuff. Thank you very much to our loyal listener out there. I mean, he's just such a nice bloke. What? There's more than one. Oh, that's right. There's Lance. His family listens to us. Thank you very much. It's been a very moving experience. And so is this. Now, have a listen to the commercial. It's about 28-inch flares.
Catch me if you can.
Black Superman, that's Johnny Wakelin on 3XY with Joe Miller. It's 27 past 11 at midday, John O'Donnell.
Work all week from the sweet to the soul in a hole with electric light. Gotta get out from the shop, it's the great alternative tonight. Oh, Lily gonna play up tonight, gonna kick up my heels while I hold you tight with a rock and roll band and you in my hand, I'm fine. Lily Dale Cider sings an innocent thing, but a cool taste makes anything swing.
We've got our way of making things swing. 10% proof Lilydale cider, the great alternative.
Hey, seen the new tight-fitting jeans from Colonials?
They're called slits. They hug you neat and tight around the waist, hips and thighs. No bulges, because they've got slit back pockets that sit neat and flat behind you. Then they let go. From the thighs down, they get bigger and wider until there's a full 28-inch flare around the shoe. That's slits. Slip into slits soon.
Slip into slits at any wardrobe store. For holiday motoring safety this Easter, do yourself and your family a favour. Get a free inspection and report on your car springs and shockers from Spicer's Springworks, Spencer Street, West Melbourne. Call Ern Spicer on 328-3541 and arrange your free inspection and report. And remember, new exchange units can be fitted on Spicer's same-day service. Call Ern Spicer today. Spicer's Springworks, 525 Spencer Street, West Melbourne. Phone 328-3541. From the album An Evening with John Denver, this is Sweet Surrender.
More music, 3XY.
.22, 3XY. Currently 13 degrees, fine and becoming sunny, chasing 17 later on, 22 to 10. 3XY's final day.
Dr. Frankenstein.
It's alive!
Dr. Jekyll.
I tell you it's great. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. I tell you it's the greatest. No, it's not. I'm telling you it's not.
Dr. Ruth.
Oh, it makes me hot. Terrific.
Dr. Seuss.
I have it with breakfast whenever I can. It's just the thing with green eggs and ham.
Dr. McCoy from Star Trek.
Damn it, Jim. I don't know what it is, but it's making everyone sick.
It's official. 4 out of 5 doctors agree for fast relief from boredom without the harmful side effects of too much talk. There's nothing better than the 3XY Brekkie Show.
14:22, 3XY. It's 10 to 10. Fine becoming sunny, heading for 17 degrees. Tomorrow, fine increasing cloud and low 20s. Currently, it's 13 degrees. This is James Rain at 3XY. Well, Rox, this is it. Or
Well,
for me, anyway.
well, it's it for you, I think, Mike, but it's not it for me just yet.
You got another 2 hours.
We've got 2 hours to go on air on 3XY. Then it's all over by the shouting. It's sort of like the final siren in the footy in a way, isn't it?
Pretty wild, isn't it? I mean, it's a very wild occurrence in one's life. I mean, I've never been through this. Been in the business for 14 and a half years. Worked here in the States and never been through this before.
You've never seen a radio station die?
Not like this. Not a great rock and roll station.
It is. It's sad news. We've had lots of calls this morning, Mike, about people wondering what is happening with 3XY. Well, just briefly, in 2 hours' time, well, a little bit over 2 hours' time, we've gone. That's it.
History.
But we are going to go out in a big way. I can tell you that we have got some of the best music you are ever likely to hear, and all of it really meaningful stuff that had a lot to do with 3XY and all that.
Were you born in 1971? That's right. You would have been 22, wouldn't you? 23.
What?
Sorry.
No, look, like you, like nearly everyone I know, I grew up with 3XY. It's always been a great rock and roll station, and it's sad to see it go, and I'm really proud that I can be one of the last people to be on air at XY.
You were. I'm the second last. Aren't I lucky?
Well, you are, yes. Do they always remember the second last people?
No.
Maybe, I think it's
always
only me
the last one.
It's only me that gets written into the history books, I think, Mike.
It's your lipstick that does it.
I hope they spell my name right.
Ryan, O-Y-A-N. Okay, speaking of history, let's go right back to 1971, Rock, shall we?
I think that's a great idea, Mike.
See you in another lifetime. Bye.
Yeah.
3XY.
At 10 minutes to 2, the countdown continues. Here's the number 17 record from the top 200. The Rolling Stones and Honky Tonk Woman.
More music, 3XY.
Hello, this is Laurie Atlas. 6.5 years out of my life, 3XY was, from June 85 till about June 1991. And I, for one, can't believe that it won't be around anymore. It was and always will be great rock and roll. The amount of people that I worked with in those 6 years who have moved on to bigger and better things. And I, for one, will miss what has always been a great part of Melbourne. And like someone said earlier on this hour, I hope it rises from the ashes again. Maybe in years to come, someone will remember. But always remember what a great station it was. Thank you very much. 1422, 3XY.
Hi, this is Kate Sobrano.
Hi, this is Darryl Braithwaite.
Hi, this is Doc Beecham for the Angels.
3XY.
3XY, the rock of Melbourne, and there's Queen with an appropriate song, some Radio Gaga on our last day of transmission. Hey, after the news with Rick, we got into what would have to have been the anthem of the 70s, Daddy Cool and Eagle Rock. I think everyone still remembers the film clip of the guys in Daddy Cool doing the Eagle Rock. It was an incredible song and certainly a sign of the times. Also there, Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run. Divinals with their Back to the Wall, Know the Feeling. Hey, we've got to get out of this place. The Angels, I don't know how appropriate that is. Well, yeah, okay. Bob Seger, Old Time Rock and Roll, and that's what 3XY has certainly done so well, put some rock and roll back into Melbourne. It's 27 to 11 as the countdown through the hours continue. Currently 13 degrees in town. We're heading for a nice day today, so you can actually enjoy some music for the next couple of hours and you can enjoy some fine weather. Here's something that I don't know if anyone will remember it back in 1975. I mean, how old are we? Well, here's Joe Miller, and have a listen to this, and particularly the little bit about the Colonials.
Catch me if you can.
Black Superman, that's Johnny Wakeland on 3XY with Joe Miller. It's 27 past 11 at midday, John O'Donnell.
Work all week with a sweet to the soul in a hole with electric light. Gotta get out for a shot, it's the great alternative tonight. Oh, Lily, gonna play up tonight. Gonna kick up my heels while I hold you tight with a rock and roll band and you in my hand, I'm fine. Lilydale cider sings an innocent thing, but a cool, cool taste makes anything swing.
We've got our way of making things swing. 10% proof Lilydale cider, the great alternative.
Hey, seen the new tight-fitting jeans from Colonials? They called slits. They hug you neat and tight around the waist, hips and thighs. No bulges, because they've got slit-back pockets that sit neat and flat behind you. Then they let go. From the thighs down, they get bigger and wider until there's a full 28-inch flare around the shoe. That's slits. Slip into slits soon.
Slip into slits at any wardrobe store. For holiday motoring safety this Easter, do yourself and your family a favour. Get a free inspection and report on your car springs and shockers from Spicer's Springworks, Spencer Street, West Melbourne. Call Ern Spicer on 328-3541 and arrange your free inspection and report. And remember, new exchange units can be fitted on Spicer's same-day service. Call Ern Spicer today, Spicer's Springworks, 525 Spencer Street, West Melbourne. Phone 328-3541. From the album An Evening with John Denver, this is Sweet Surrender.
Lost and alone.
These days, more than ever, you have to make the right business decisions. The following information is absolutely vital to the future of your company. Over 10,000 Australian businesses already have chosen to use CBA accounting software. In Melbourne, CBA software is sold and serviced by Gretel Computer Consulting. With the right accounting and management operations products and their phenomenal systems knowledge and backup, Gretel is crucial to your success. Gretel Computer Consulting. Phone Melbourne 427788. There is no one better.
Hi, this is Richard Stubbs, and for 4 years I worked at XY, as it was hot hits 3XY in those days with the XY Zoo, doing breakfast. For the most fun years in radio I've ever had, and gave everyone a lot of work and a lot of fun despite the early mornings. And I, for one, am really going to miss 3XY.
At 21 past 11 from 55 to 54, Rolling Stones, Jumpin' Jack Flashes of Gas.
The Rock of Melbourne, 1422 3XY, the Rolling Stones, and hey, it's only rock and roll, but gee, you know, I like it. It's 10 to 11, Laurie. Atlas, you've joined me.
Yeah, I'm sorry to have to come back on such a sad occasion too, but we're having fun. Geez, the music's good.
Oh, isn't it hot? Actually, I was just talking to Roxanne in Mornington. Can you believe it? She rang me up and I said, what's your name? She said, Roxanne. I said, no, that's my name. What's your name? And Roxanne in Mornington is taping the whole show, she says, because she is going to miss XY desperately.
Actually, so is Jenny Bundy of Hurstbridge, who rang up at the office earlier on this morning, and she's going to tape the whole thing too. She was crying on the phone.
Oh, it's sad, isn't it?
It is very sad.
I also got a call from Constantinople Dominic O'Reilly, Condom for short. Now, he's very upset too. He said, look, I'm just a little damn...
What about his name or 3XY?
Peeved off. No, he's very happy with his name.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
I like, Condom for short. Hey, call me crazy. Now, this is amazing, Laurie. You'll be able to help me out here.
Yep.
There's a few bands, particularly the Easy Beats, Russell Morris, and we might even throw in Skyhooks there, and a few others, that XY were particularly important in developing.
Yeah, they certainly were, especially Russell Morris's career, I believe, in the late 60s, early 70s, even though I was a boy in high school then. And certainly Skyhooks, I mean, back in the hot hit days, Shirley Strawn actually joined the station. Took us a while to get him, I remember. He wanted too much money.
Shell's probably listening this morning.
Oh, sorry, Shell, no. We did pay you a fortune, didn't we? Advertised your Alexander's Club for ages, apparently, you know. But, yeah, and, of course, he eventually worked there, and Shell was great for the station. And, of course, 3XY was instrumental in 84, which was the final Rocktober of reforming Skyhooks for the very first time back in 84, and it was just an amazing occasion, nationwide TV, and that was in fact the last Rocktober because they thought, how are we going to top this?
Yeah.
So 3XY ended Rocktober. When I joined the station in June 85, they were still on a high after that amazing concert and across to Hey Hey, and it was just a great day, great night for 3XY that Rocktober.
Well, I reckon we should have a bit of a listen to some music from that era. We'll kick it off with none other than Russell Morris. Now, this is a classic. Hey, bang on 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, bang on 11 o'clock. I'll rephrase that. How about we join Rick with News Sport? And whether you're going to hang around for the last hour, aren't you, Laurie?
Yeah, I wouldn't miss it.
We've got 1 hour and 8 minutes to go, so let's get into some great music. Hey, this is classic 3XY.
Hi, this is Brian Mannix, and I'm really, really pissed off. Fancy 3XY shutting down after all of these years, and I just want to say it's a great shame, and they always did the right thing by me. There's a lot of good friends in there at 3XY, and I'm very troubled and sad to see the demise of a great radio station.
1422, 3XY News.
14 degrees at 11 o'clock. Good morning, I'm Rick Wall. A fine day, becoming sunny and 17 expected top. Well, in a piece of Australian broadcasting history, radio station 3XY will cease transmission from these premises in a little under an hour. A Department of Communications tape will then inform people the station has been taken off the air. With the brief exception of Sydney's 2KY during the Second World War, it's believed to be the first time a capital city radio station has been removed from the airwaves. 3XY's licence has been bought by the AWA company, which will spend a considerable amount of money and time rebuilding studios in Melbourne and constructing a new transmitter. The new station is expected to be back on air in about 4 months, probably on a frequency around 690 on the dial. The 3XY switchboard has been jammed with callers, some of whom have listened to the station for more than 20 years. Attempts will be made over the next couple of hours to accept all calls and field queries regarding 3XY. A relaxed-looking Sir Joe Bjelke-Petersen has arrived at the Brisbane District Court to stand trial on charges arising from the corruption inquiry. 80-year-old Sir Joe was Queensland Premier for 19 years. About 20 people describing themselves as friends of Joe were on hand to cheer him. Sir Joe stopped to chat with the media, whom he used to refer to as his chooks. He said he was feeling great. However, son John said Sir Joe has been under immense strain. Crown and Defence Counsel have still to settle on the final charges that he's to face. Transport Minister Peter Spiker has dug a deep hole for himself, but he's used it to fight back against detractors demanding his resignation. And far from considering resigning from the Kerner Cabinet, Mr Spiker said this morning the controversy surrounding a $95,000 payout to a former advisor is now behind him. Premier Kerner has expressed strong support for her minister. Football. And it's probably fitting that 3XY News breaks the story with its very last yarn. It's our tip that 5 Geelong players will be in the All-Australian team to be announced tonight during the Brownlow medal count. Grand finalist Hawthorn won't have a single player in the side, which means who will be full back if it's not Chris Langford? Well, we believe Edna Danaher's son Anthony has that particular Guernsey, despite playing only half the football season. In another surprise, Adelaide's Chris Smart holds down a back pocket in the All-Australian team, Paul Roos at centre half-back, which is why they'll have the satellite hook up to him. And after disclosing that, my chances of getting a job with Channel 7 this week are zilch, Rick.
So can we assume here, Rick, that you took a bit of a chance, you wanted to break one last story?
Yes, and there it is.
Right,
the All-Australian footy
you're
team
never
tonight.
ever going to work for Channel 7?
No.
Is this the time when we sort of say to all the people who are listening, call us?
No, they have been.
They have, no.
Please, no, don't call.
No, I'm not talking about just the people. I'm talking about the people who employ people.
Oh, right, those people. No one's got any money these days, so
Oh,
that's
right.
it. You know, it sort of feels like Hell in the 2001, the Space Odyssey movie. Remember
Yeah.
they're taking Hell off air and they take all those cylinders out and he's saying, please don't do it, Ken, please don't do it. As he fades in the distance, which is what I'm about to do. Fine day coming up, folks. 17 the expected top. Tomorrow, fine, increasing cloud, low 20s. 14 degrees in the city. That's what's happening.
Thanks, Rick.
On our guitar weekend, Skyhooks.
Well, look, can you show us a difficult riff out of bowling?
Okay. Sir, I can't play it.
Yeah, that's how difficult it gets.
Rory Gallagher.
Yeah, it's very hard. The best thing is just to try and play as much as you can, listen to as many guitar players, and don't let any one guy become your complete idol. Listen.
Creedence Clearwater.
It's a really nice, special feeling to, you know, they have that. It's really a low, raunchy sound.
All this weekend, the instrument and its players, plus guitars being given away over 3 days. A guitar weekend from 3 o'clock tomorrow on 3XY.
Hi, it's one of your old XY employees from the late 70s, Barry Bissell, now at Fox FM. Well, it's probably the worst news I've had in radio in a long time, I would imagine, that XY is just disappearing. I mean, it's been such an integral part of Melbourne for so many years and such a formative part of so many people's lives, listeners apart from people who are involved in the station. And I had three and a half wonderful years at XY in the late 70s and very early 80s, and it was the turning point in my career, as a matter of fact, when I went on air doing from late nights up to mornings, doing 9 to midday with Hans Torf, who was known as Hans Christian at that time, and we had a great couple of years together on air. I continued on for solo for a while, then made the move to Fox in 1981. It seemed like a good move at the time, but in retrospect, you wonder whether the last of the people going to FM was sounding the death knell for XY, even though they continued for some time. I think it's a great tragedy that the radio station is just to disappear, because 1422 has been such a call sign for a long time, and it's part of my life gone out the back door, guys, and I'm really sorry to hear it.
The Rock of Melbourne, 1422 3XY. There's In Excess and Don't Change. Laurie Atlas, you're still with me.
I am.
think we've got to change, though. I think it's sort of, this is it.
This is it. It's one of those times that, oh boy. I think...
You're going to cry, Laurie.
No, I'm not.
Oh, come on, you are. I can tell.
I am very sad, though. And I keep thinking that here we are, the last 46 minutes of what has been possibly, arguably, the greatest radio station in Australia over the years. And, well, I suppose that's radio. It comes to this, and that's radio. And many people have been phoning in, and we thank them for that. And truck drivers were, well, 20 years I've been listening to you guys.
I know. Look, actually, I got a call. I've got lists of names here. There's Carmine. Carmine rang up. He's very upset. He's very upset. Also, Shane from the Salad Bowl rang up and said that they don't know what they're going to listen to now.
What I'd like to know is, did you donate? Did you donate? We're
Yes.
sitting here reading donations. We can still stay on air, possibly after midday.
To the XXY's Benevolent Fund, something like that. Do you think that's a good idea?
I think it's a lovely idea. Phone your donations in. You can doss them off Commonwealth Bank or something like that.
That sounds like a great idea. Hey, look, back in 1975, do you remember 1975, Laurie?
I do. I was in high school listening to 3XY.
Look, I was too. Well, in 1975, a guy called Joe Miller was on 3XY.
Yes, he
and
was.
Joe had just one of those voices. And I reckon we should have a little bit of a listen to Joe, and then it's into Bachman Turner Overdrive.
All right.
3XY.
How do you do what you do to me? If I only knew, then perhaps you'd fall for me like I fell for you when I do it to you.
The vintage Liverpool sound, Jerry and the Pacemakers. How do you do it? 22 past 11 on 3XY with Joe Miller.
Hey there, this is Lee Simon. I used to be on air at XY about 1 million years ago, between 1975 and 1980, and I guess I can't say I'm really happy to be here right now with somebody's fingers poised over the off switch, but I guess that's the way it is, and hopefully one day, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, the old XY will do it again.
3XY rocking Melbourne with the Huddersfield Collectors Say Goodbye. An appropriate song, really, when you think about it. It's 23 past 11. Laurie, you're still here?
Yes, I am. Yes.
I'm not trying to get rid of you or anything like that. I'm not suggesting that you should go. Well, you can in about, 35 minutes' time. Listen, we've had heaps more calls about people who have been listening, and you've got a list there of people. Who
Sarah
are
in Geelong rang, Nick in Windsor rang, Bill in Tassie rang, and had a couple of calls from Tasmania, Wally in Tassie, because they don't get much music down in Tasmania. Or not much good music, he said. He's got a bit of a choice, but he listens to 3XY, especially Wally. Good on you, Wall.
Yeah, look, here's another one. Wally Chamberlain was the chief engineer at 3XY for 40 years, from 1936 to 1976.
Well, Wally would know Jack Hine very, very well. Jack Hine, who worked in the record library from, I think, the early 50s, certainly to 6 months after when I joined in 85. And he'd been there for 35 years. He could remember guys like Lionel York working at 3XY years ago. He could remember Graham Kennedy. He could remember Bert Newton starting at 3XY.
You know when Darren Hinch worked at 3XY?
Yes, that was a cool 6 months, I think.
Did he have his beard then?
Yes. Darren used to apparently sit at the typewriter, right, and tap away at the... I don't know if he does this at AW, or he used to do this at... this will get him angry.
He doesn't do it on TV.
No, he doesn't tap at his typewriter. Well, this will get him angry. No. He looks more outraged on television, I think.
Well, maybe he doesn't need the typewriter. Well, anyway, Wally was there for 40 years, from 1936 to 1976. He rang in to say goodbye, and I hope he catches up with some of the old staff. Apparently there's a wake-on, I hear, somewhere in Melbourne, Laurie.
Yes, I believe so. At about 4 o'clock, Greasy Joe's is the place.
Oh, right. I wasn't going to say where it was. Good on you, Loz. OK, the rest of Melbourne will be there. Well, look, everyone's welcome. Hey, it's the end of a radio station, for crying out loud. Speaking of that, how about we have a listen to something that happened in the 70s? This is a bit of a montage going back to 1971, and I'm starting to feel real old. Have a listen to this.
3XY. At 10 minutes to 2, the countdown continues. Here's the number 17 record from the top 200. The Rolling Stones and Honky Tonk Woman.
3XY, more music.
We move to the number 16 record, Jimi Hendrix and Along the Watchtower. It's 7 before 2. Three minutes to 2 on 3XY.
More music.
Well, that's a bad way to be at 4 minutes past 2 on a Saturday afternoon, minus satisfaction.
3XY. Give me a ticket for an aeroplane. Ain't got time to take a fast train. Holidays are gone, I'm a-going home. My baby, my baby,
Box Tops, scripting a letter at 10 past 2, 16 past 2 as we rock on in the countdown of the 200 all-time greats. And you voted Richard Harris's MacArthur Park in at number 10.
From WTFM, formerly from the XY Zoo. And I just want to say thank you, 3XY. Thank you for the memories and thank you for rocking Melbourne like nobody else ever has. You're a big part of my childhood and my teenage years, and you're a big and really special part of my career, and you'll be very, very sadly missed by me.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to get through this thing called life.
3XY, the Rock of Melbourne. And I tell you what, Laurie Atlas, I reckon if Prince had been Australian, 3XY would have broken him as well.
No problem at all about that, Roxanne.
Let's go crazy. What a great song for this last, let's see, 24 minutes to go.
Oh, dear. I had a call from Angela, who actually rang Dave Gibney a lot when he was doing Drive on this radio station. Angela, Julie and Bruce from Gavin's Shoes. They're a factory in Preston. They always have been listening to 3XY. We thank you for your $5 donation. No, only joking, but they're very sad, as we are. I'm sorry to say sad all the time, but really it's 24 minutes of history we're going into now.
Well, actually, I was thinking, Laurie, it's quite amazing when you consider that as the radio station is about to go off air and about to die, I think it's pretty damn ironic, considering the industry, that one of the last announcers is a female. I mean, you've got to say things have changed a lot.
Gee, we'll have to cut that trend.
Laurie Atlas. Look, you're only here on my invitation, so you just sit down there.
Okay.
No, but isn't that just, it's great. And I mean, that's what the industry's all about now, just proving that, one for the women.
One for
that,
the girls.
The girls can do it. And we are doing it, and we're going to do it really well. Now, I'm about to play a jingle. It's one that we play occasionally, but it really represents what XY is all about with Melbourne and how we view Melbourne. It's all about our town.
Just been down Victoria Market and I'm heading to Fitzroy Street. The good thing about these parts of town, you'll never know just who you'll meet. Rockin' Melbourne, 3XY.
The Rock of Melbourne, 14:22 3XY. There's Queen, and another one bites the dust. Well, here's one that hasn't quite bitten the dust yet. Ken Lane.
And a very good morning to you. I'd actually come into work this afternoon. Oops, silly me.
Yes, there's something we forgot to tell you on Friday, Ken. You're not on. In fact, no one's on. Nothing's happening after 12.
It's going to be very quiet then.
It's going to be Melbourne's going to be a quieter place without 3XY. Now, when did you first start your involvement with this illustrious radio station?
Around about 1989, I think.
Yeah.
Got back from overseas and launched myself into it.
Yeah.
Sad, sort of very sad.
I can see a tear in Ken's eye. Well, you know, there are some guys who are crying at this moment as we speak. Robert and all the gang at the King Island Seaweed Factory. I'm not joking. I am not pulling your leg here. They produce seaweed. Well, they don't produce it. They help get it ready for toothpaste and stuff, he told me.
They put seaweed in toothpaste?
Yes, apparently so. He said it goes into absolutely everything. So if you wonder why we're starting to grow gills, that's the reason. Anyway, all the guys there have been listening to XY for 10 years, Robert tells me. And he said they're pretty damn upset that it's not going to be around any longer. And he said, what are we going to listen to now? And I gave a few suggestions, but I'm not sure if he quite liked them.
Like what?
Oh, I don't think I'll say. We're not going to plug anyone else in our last final 14 minutes or so. And we've just been handed a faxer. Oh, from 3MP. Actually, that was one of the suggestions. To all XYs, sorry to see you go. It's a sad day to see a station we've loved and worked at close. Take care of yourselves, Anne Gilding, and also Chris Clifford. So,
who used to write copy for XY.
Yes, we know them. Oh, rock on hard in your last hour. Thanks for the great listening. Good luck in the future. That was another fax. And from Access Hardware, please don't go. We've been listening to XY since 1976, RIP. Well, we sort of have to go. That's from Market Access Hardware. Thank you for your faxes. Hey, this is going to take us back a little bit here. Okay, Ken, you ready to go back in time? Bit of time warping?
I'm hanging out.
All right, well, just have a listen to this.
Beach Boys getting around with the summer sound. Yeah, very good. That's 2 to 11.
More music, 3XY.
As the record for Daddy Cool is starting to take off in Los Angeles, there's Hi Honey Ho on 3XY and it's 4 past 11.
Trevor Smith plays more music.
Now I've been happy lately, thinking about the good things to
called Stevens, from the album Teaser and the Firecat. It's Peace Train.
Just been down Victoria Market and I'm heading to Fitzroy Street. The good thing about these parts of town, you'll never know just who you'll meet. Back in Melbourne, 3XY.
3XY, the Rock of Melbourne. There's Akka Daka, and it's a long way to the top for, if you want a sausage roll, I think, or you want a rock and roll or something like that. It's 7 to 12. We're nearly out of time. But you know who I ran into? Mel Walden. Hi, Mel.
Amazing who you meet.
Oh, I'll turn your microphone on. That'll help.
Amazing who you meet in strange places.
It's
How are you,
incredible.
Roxanne?
I'm good. Now, you never actually worked at 3XY, did
I think I was one of the very few who didn't, sadly enough.
Yeah.
I worked at 3DB, and look what happened to 3DB. They sort of
Well,
went off
actually,
there.
it's a wonder you didn't work at 3XY then, knowing the fate.
Yeah, so, I mean, you probably will re-emerge even bigger and greater.
Now, when you came in here before, you were wondering where the turntables were.
I can't get over all this electronic gadgetry. Yeah, I mean, when I was in the business, we had 3 turntables, a stack of records that you sat on your knee, and they were just the commercial.
So it's all a little bit different. Now,
yeah.
do you think that 3XY is going to be a big loss?
I think it's a great loss. Very, very sad indeed. And listening to some of the calls that are coming through, it makes you realise just how far you reach out to people. I heard you mentioning before people in Burnie who rely on music, and it's the only music station they can get. And because the demise of XY is the end of music, end of a certain amount of entertainment and communication to those people. I think that's very sad.
It is sad, but, well, we'll come back bigger and better maybe one
sure
day,
you will.
as they say. Mel, it's been wonderful having you sort of drop in and
well,
say
I'm here
hi.
on business, but we'll have a
Is
little
that
story
what's
for
all
you
these guys
tonight.
with the cameras and what's that big fuzzy thing there?
Touch it and see.
Hello. I think, no, it might bite.
It will bite.
We are almost out of here. I think we can do 2 things here, guys. We've got to vote on this. We can either play one song in its whole entirety, or we can play a couple and fade them out and sort of get a few
Well,
in
Laurie,
there.
make an executive
Laurie
decision
Atlas, executive.
one in its entirety.
One in its entirety. Well, in that case, we better do a little bit more talking because we've got to be able to time up.
So
of
this is
course.
the last record on 3XY.
Well, it almost will be.
The station
and
that was born when, in 1935?
Yeah, something like
So
that.
it's been
nearly.
really a major part of Melbourne's history, hasn't it? All that
Well,
time?
I grew up with it, Mel. I
Well,
think
so did
everyone
I,
did.
yeah.
Everyone sort of felt like it was part of their life.
I mean, the 70s, well, I mean, it was a very exciting time musically.
Can I ask you a question?
Oh, here we go. Yeah.
Did you wear, we had an ad on earlier for
Oh, I know
colonial
what you're gonna
flare
say.
jeans, 28-inch flare at the bottom. Now, did you ever wear those, Mel?
I think I was a 26er myself.
I can sort of see you there. You know, actually, it's still in fashion. You could wear them now and be a hip kind of guy.
Oh, I store all these things at home. I store them away. Wait for the next recycle.
A good idea. Your kids will love them. Laurie, look, just before we go, I suppose you'd like to say goodbye?
I'd like to say goodbye. I'd like to thank everyone who's listened to 3XY for all those years, and we've certainly always tried to, well, basically entertain, and that's what radio has to be. And, of course, play great rock and roll, and for certainly 30 years of 3XY, it's been uppermost in youth, and I'm sure youth will be well catered for in Melbourne, but a lot of people are going to miss 3XY.
Particularly those with trannies or only AM receivers in their cars, and there's a lot of those around. They've been ringing in this morning. I think Rick Wall is somewhere, the news director at 3XY. We'd love him to come in and just say a quick goodbye. I know he's sort of already said it, so if someone can grab Rick to say goodbye. He's been here for years too.
He has. He was here when I first joined, and he'd already come back once, and then he came back for a third time back in 1989.
Some of the biggest news people in Melbourne have worked at 3XY. Jen Kite, for once, she was here. Now, please sit down, Rick. We've got about 30 seconds before we play our very last song, and I reckon it's sort of appropriate because you were here 3 years ago and you're here right at the end.
79 when it was number 1.
79.
When I started, yes, a little bloke in short pants. And they're just pulling that life support system. I can feel it easing its way out now,
They've got
so do it.
the finger on the button.
3XY on air, 1935. Frank Thring's father put us on air in 1935. FT
Wow.
broadcasters. So it's been a long road. Do
It
it to
has.
us one more time.
It's time to go. 14:22 3XY. We're going to rock Melbourne, and we're rocking out in the best way that we possibly can. Here's a classic from Spectrum, I'll Be Gone.
All right.
This is 3XY, the final hour. Well, the minutes are ticking away, and very soon 3XY will be no more. What began on September 8, 1935, concludes at 1 p.m. today, September 23, 1991. I'm honoured to have been asked to fill this legendary station's final hour, but the honour is certainly tinged with sadness. My memories of 3XY are indelibly etched, as I'm sure yours are. All that remains is for me to spin in the final song, one which fits not only the theme of this hour, but also in many ways the ethic of both 3XY and Oz Rock during those halcyon days. Bon, Angus, let it rip. And I don't mean rest in peace. That was AC/DC, and this is Glenn A. Baker. Thank you for listening. After this tone, 3XY will cease transmission.